And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Kanell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, where Joey and Quinn and Tyler and many, many more have great comments to get the conversation going, including on the headline topic that you see. Yes, a conference realignment reset here on a Monday, but the tailgate's buzzing about some news of the day. Dirty Dogs at 10:20 a.m. He saw the breaking news, and he went to the one place where anyone would want to go for college sports news, the Cover 3 Tailgate. And Dirty Dogs, 40 minutes before we got started, said, quick college basketball thoughts on Dusty May leaving Michigan for the Dallas Mavericks. DK, did this come across your desk? I guess it would be after the show ended, or were y'all still on the air?
No, it was after we had ended the show, so we did not get to hit on it. I just found out probably about an hour ago. Our producer texted us and said, wow, this is crazy. And this will be very, very interesting. You know, we've seen a couple other coaches make that jump. It's a whole different animal. Maybe it's not as much anymore with players making as much money and player movement. But I wouldn't bet against Dusty May. Like, he's just a winner, kind of figured it out. But now it leaves a big void at Michigan where now you're going to be tasked with filling that spot left behind in a weird spot in the calendar. So we'll see.
What was Thamel's tweet originally when, like, Dusty was mentioned as a possibility at North Carolina and those other jobs, and he said that he's going to stay at Michigan and he's not open to any other college jobs?
Yeah, that was the tell.
Yeah.
It was the tell back in April that Dusty May has informed Michigan administrators he will not be entertaining another college job. And the word choice of college job sort of said, in my head, Tom, I was like, okay, so he'll stay at Michigan 3 more years, 4 more years. He's just going to keep running this thing out. He just won a national championship. And then at some point, especially with the way that he built that team, Tom, that was not an NBA team based on talent, but the way that they assembled everybody with a very, pro forward approach, got them all to buy in and get on the same page and go and win a title. I understand why Masai Ujiri and the rest of the Dallas Mavericks leadership is like, well, that's about as close as we're going to get in terms of being able to be an NBA coach and show us that you can get it done. So at Michigan, he follows in the footsteps of John Beilein, who left Michigan to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but under wildly different circumstances, both in terms of winning a title before he left, but also the kind of where college basketball is at versus where it was when Beilein left, which, if I remember correctly, was a little bit of him ducking the new world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like him, doing the, okay, I'm out. I don't want to play this game anymore. Take this NBA job. Dusty's got a long, long runway to be a coach. And now, at least for the next couple years, we assume it will be with Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks.
Just, as an Illinois basketball fan, my heart breaks for Michigan fans. Sorry, guys.
While Brad Underwood, by the way, is like, you're going to take him out of that office in a pine box. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid about that, but he has found where he's going to be for the rest of his coaching career.
Yep.
Oh, you don't want to gloat anymore?
No, I mean, they won a national title. Like, it's
right.
Like, you can't really ha, sucks for you. When it's like you won a national title. It's like, it doesn't feel great, I'm sure, but I think you would take that trade, 2 years of Dusty May for a national title, and then go from there.
I was going to say, fan perspective, put yourself in the shoes of a Michigan fan, worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Like, if Signetti retired today, do you think Indiana fans would be like, no, I mean, they got a national title out of it?
Great call. Like a very, very good cross sport there. What about Michigan as a school? Because now you had to you fired Sharon Moore after February National Signing Day, replaced him with haste with Kyle Whittingham. Dusty May leaves. Now Ward Manuel is going to be tasked with, once again, replacing a head coach. And this is not that long ago from replacing Jim Harbaugh. Challenging days in Ann Arbor, Danny.
Yeah, challenging, but you're still Michigan. And I think Dusty May just elevated to a place where you see what you're capable of doing. They've got deep pockets. They've got resources. They play in the Big Ten. Like, this is a very attractive job. What comes interesting is, where do they go? Where do they turn to? Like, are they going to pull somebody from another premier program where we can see a little domino effect in college hoops?
My guess is they're going to promote Boynton from whatever, and then do a coaching search after the year, or maybe Boynton just hits it and goes running, and they don't feel the need to do it. But I don't know. Like I said before the show, Billy Donovan's still out there.
Oh yeah, ooh,
a couple national titles. Currently doesn't have a job.
For those who are not aware, Mike Boynton, you might remember that name. He was the head coach at Oklahoma State for a while. Is he a former Underwood assistant?
Yeah, he replaced Brad at Oklahoma State.
Okay. Well, there you go. Because he was at Stephen F. Austin for a while too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So Mike Boynton was the sort of defensive coordinator. We talked a little bit throughout the college basketball season. I know about how more staffs are doing offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He was sort of their defensive lead there for Dusty May's championship winning squad, which elite on both sides as well. But he's got that head coaching experience from 7 or 8 seasons with Oklahoma State. It would be, it would be a way to address as much as you can, trying to preserve continuity. Players could leave, I guess. I mean, this opens up the portal for a wildly talented group. Very interesting, interesting times ahead in Ann Arbor. As let's see. Okay, it looks like our sources. I don't know if this was back channeled or not, but yes, Mike Boynton and Tom, perhaps Billy Donovan could end up being on the list. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We will see. Also in the tailgate here before we get going, Joey says, as an Indiana alum, Dusty going to the NBA puts him in a better position to return and take over Indiana in 3 to 5 years when Cooper Flagg inevitably leaves for the Celtics.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, if you are an Indiana basketball fan, you can definitely spin yourself that on June 22nd.
Yeah, why not?
In the way of that.
Yeah.
Or maybe then Indiana can hire Brad Stevens and he'll bring Cooper Flagg with him.
See?
Ooh.
There you go. And then one other from the tailgate before we get into a little bit of news. Quinn at 9:58 a.m. East. Or actually, this one was Tyler at 10:19 a.m. Eastern time said, moving everything I have from Florida to Texas currently. Can I get a reason to feel good about the Noles this season for moral support?
Said it all along. We have not done well when the expectations have been high. Mike Norvell has had better seasons when the expectations are low. So that's what I'm going for. Low expectations. Nobody's thinking anything of the Noles. Is he getting fired? So see if we can surprise the upside.
I would say
about all I can give you. That's about all I can give you right there. I'm trying. The SMU game is massive. First, if you can get that win, get it under your belt, kind of get the momentum back. They'll still be fans, but like, oh, Bama's next. But they have to win that SMU game, or else then it could be a long season.
Tom, you got anything?
Florida State. The ACC sucks. Anything can happen.
Well,
your point.
The high-end talent, if you scrape off the high-end talent on Florida State's roster, those are players that walk into every other ACC school except maybe Miami, and they're a star player. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
If everything connects and your best players are your best players, then yeah, this could be a top 5, top 6 team in the ACC. So, and baby steps. That's where Norvell was before he went off for the 13-0 season. That was what, like a 10-2, 10-3 kind of year? Yeah.
Also, I like Ashton Daniels. I don't know if I like him as like a quarterback to help you get to the playoff, but I like Ashton Daniels.
Yeah. We're going to do a book club later, but I have one for you. It's okay that you're not okay. That's by Megan Devine. That's a little book recommendation.
Is that did Ashton Daniels have that as part of his?
No, I'm just saying for
Florida State fans could really use it right now.
Oh,
okay, that you're not okay.
I thought we were going like Trinidad Chambliss, like
meeting. This is perfect. Meeting grief and loss in a culture that doesn't understand. That's true.
Yes, that's great. There you go. There's moral support for you right away.
There you go.
Headline that we had on the agenda last week, but I at least thought that even though the news sort of lingers and it at least leads to an interesting conversation, which is we have started to hear about Sam Leavitt's return from the foot injury. Now, throughout spring practice, it felt like there was a lot of slow your roll, right? Slow your roll on the LSU hype and slow your roll exactly where is Sam Leavitt in his recovery. We have gotten some updates from around LSU that indicate he is looking to be on par and ready to go for the start of the season, which means that we should see him in the starting lineup QB1 for that massive season opener at home against Clemson, the beginning of the Lane Kiffin era. Danny, what are fair expectations for Sam Leavitt? Because we have seen him obviously explode onto the scene during Arizona State's flip from 3 wins one year to winning the Big 12 the next, and he was the quarterback there. He has been banged up, though, in each of the last 2 seasons, only a little bit 2 years ago. And then, of course, last season, the injury, which led to him missing a good portion of the 2025 campaign. We know that foot injuries are always a little bit tricky. We can imagine, based on skill set, what a full season of healthy Sam Leavitt could be, surrounded by the other weapons that they've accumulated on this roster. What are some realistic expectations for what Sam Leavitt is going to be this season?
Did you say fair or realistic? Are they the same? Because I think a fair expectation, I think a fair expectation is that he should be top 5 quarterback in the SEC, but I was going to, not in the country. I was going to say in the SEC, and I think maybe even top 3. I mean, you look at who he's working with. Lane Kiffin has always done a great job developing quarterbacks, maximizing the talent. You mentioned the roster, that the support he's going to have around him. The schedule's tough, but I think it's and not to mention that he's making $5 million, whatever the number is. I think a fair expectation is that you should get what you pay for. So I would say, top 3, top 5 quarterback in the SEC, Trinidad Chambliss, Arch Manning, those guys are going to consume the top, but there's a lot of variables out there across the league where I think he should play himself into one of those top spots.
Yeah. I mean, I would say top 3 at a minimum, considering how much you're getting paid.
So here's the other thing. John Mateer, Keelan Russell,
never played. Like, you've had experience, Right. Mateer was good last year, and that's where I went 5 because I left some room for a guy like Mateer, that has shown flashes and played really well and is on a similar, I know it's not the exact same roster, but it's a program that has pretty good talent around him. But I would hope you're better than Lenoris Sellers and Keelan Russell. You mentioned him as a first-year starter. We'll see. Some of the other quarterbacks that haven't played, we better be better than Florida's quarterback, whoever that is. There's a lot of new faces, so I think you should be better than most of them.
I mean, going into the year, the top 3, you'd probably say are Chambliss, Manning, and Mateer. No disrespect to any of them, if Leavitt's not playing on the same level of those 3 or better,
it's a disappointment.
Then
Hey, by the way, the Gunnar Stockton disrespect unfortunately continues. Another conversation where
Gunnar guy.
Yes.
Gunnar guy, but I don't think Gunner's the top, as far as talent is concerned, one of the top. I think he's a good
statistically he is. He's right there. Yeah.
That's
But Gunnar does a couple of things really, really well. And Georgia and Mike Bobo do a very good job of making sure they only ask him to do those things. Because when he has to do something else, it doesn't go nearly as well.
Does Gunnar Stockton get more respect as a quarterback than Stetson Bennett did?
No. Because Stetson won titles.
Yeah. But before he did, I think it was a similar. Well,
I think
Gunnar Stockton even gets more respect than Stetson did before he did anything. And we had a lot of conversations about Stetson Bennett. So I think he's earned it.
The last season, the passing game seemed to really get unlocked, but that also might have been very chicken and egg in that it was the healthiest and best the wide receiver room had been in a while. So it wasn't just running backs and tight ends as sort of your primary targets there, which allowed him to have, what was the Gunnar Stockton regular season win against Ole Miss? He throws for 320. There were a couple of games there where he had really
Tennessee, Bama, I think against the better teams, he played really well.
Yeah.
For the most part.
He meets the moment.
Yeah. Which is similar to Stetson kind of.
Yeah.
Yep. The moxie of a Kirby Smart quarterback. So it's what the stats can't tell you. Same thing that Sam Leavitt, Kenny Dillingham's a good coach. I know that he did a great job of getting him well prepared, but buddy, the track record of Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. together, working with a quarterback and being able to set things up. I mean, they need to get the run game going. That's like whether it's Durham or Barry, like that is going to unlock everything else, especially for Leavitt. But if Leavitt is healthy, that was where I had him. The John Mateer, the Gunnar Stockton, like right there on that cutoff, maybe three to five in the SEC. And I think if he's less than the top 10 quarterback nationally, it's a disappointment based on his talent, the coaching, the expectations. So health is a good thing. We'd like to see him out there dicing it up. It would make LSU's going to be one of the biggest stories in all of college football. Can we at least have it be a fun story?
Well, fun comes in all sorts of different varieties.
I'm not rooting for them to win, but I'm rooting for them to be competitive in these big stage games, right? There we go. Along the way. All right. Coming up on the other side, lot of movement across college sports that will begin in earnest around July 1st, and then again with another wave in August. Then when we start the season, boy, a lot of conferences are going to look a little bit different. We are going to give you the handy guide to conference realignment for the 2026 season, and because we see y'all talking about in the tailgate, some predictions of conference realignment to come and more next.
Game Bread is in the building. Chris Weidman.
Dean Thomas.
Are you ready? Oh boy, this one is going to be crazy.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. Yes, every couple years or so, we have these momentous days in the middle of the summertime, and they are the official transition of college football programs from one conference to another. Now, this wave of conference realignment does not include any of our power conferences because the SEC, the Big 12, the ACC, and the Big 10 all no changes going into 2026. The American Athletic Conference also no changes going into 2026. However, 5 of the 6 group of 6 conferences will have a new membership. A lot of this is going to be coming from the expansion of the Pac-12. Oregon State, Washington State, they kept the lights on, and dadgummit, they're going to have some friends to be able to keep that Pac-12 building standing, as they will be increasing from just 2 teams up to 8 teams. Also, and yet a lot of that coming from the Mountain West. Also, you're getting that from Texas State. In total, we've got 11 teams making moves. We've got 6 of those right there on the screen right now. Thank you, Stryker. We'll go conference by conference and then hit some big picture thoughts. So before we get to Mountain West losing these teams, Danny, what's sort of the standout about what the way the Pac-12 will be set up as they are gaining the half dozen squads? This is the biggest change that you're going to see and really set in motion the dominoes that are these 11 teams changing conferences.
My honest assessment is that calling it the Pac-12 still was stupid. You know, like, fair. It's not the Pac-12. It's not anywhere close to it. It's more of a Mountain West, or just name it something new, because and I get why they're doing it. They're trying to cling on to the branding as a Power 5 conference, but everybody that follows college football realizes it's nowhere near that level of play. So that's my initial kind of hunch. You know, that's my initial reaction, I should say, to the new look Pac-12. Like, you had to do something. I just think it was an opportunity to rebrand.
Yeah, to your point, keeping the Pac-12 would be like, well, we want to have the recognizable name. Let's call ourselves Enron. You know, so it's just like things didn't exactly go well for the Pac-12. I don't know what part of the brand you were hoping to keep, but
the championships. That's, you know, like, it's Conference of Champions. Are they still going to roll out that mantra?
I hope they do. I really hope they do. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is, if you look at it from a football perspective, I think there's an argument to make that, like, this could be a very strong, like, the strongest group of 6. When you're comparing it to the American or the Sun Belt, you look at the teams at the top. We know who Boise is. We know what Boise's done. San Diego State's had plenty of good seasons. Fresno has good seasons. Texas State has been like kind of an up and comer. And then you've got Oregon State and Wazoo, who I think the great irony here could be that Oregon State and Wazoo are the original Pac-12 remnants. And I don't know that I consider either one to be one of the best two schools in this league, even though they've added from the Mountain West.
But I think that was good for the conference to not just make sure that while Oregon and State and Washington State, thank you for your service, but like, we're not going to set this up to be able to help you win all the championships. We're trying to set this up to get the best television deal. We're trying to set this up to get the best recruiting, the best quality, everything that we can do to be able to help these programs experience a level up. I mean, there's something about the name, the Pac-12. There's something about the operation that they have going that enticed 5 different teams to willingly go through the paperwork and the payments required to be able to leave the Mountain West and go and join this sort of basically a startup to be able to add some power to it. The thing that stands out to me is that you have in this group all, except for Spencer Danielson and I guess GJ Kinney, early coaching tenures with coaches I'm generally excited about. And that's not that I'm not excited about Danielson or Kinney. That's just more about, where they are in their tenure. Because Jim Ward Jr. has taken over Colorado State, a place where the question has been asked for a long, long time. Why can't you win there? We've talked a lot about Sean Lewis and San Diego State and being a champion of what he's been able to do. Broncos, big bad boys at Utah State as well. You go down the line there. You think about Fresno State, got Matt Entz, which was a big philosophical change in terms of what we saw from Fresno State. We don't have Jake Haener slinging it all over the yard anymore. It's more about solid defense and running that daggum football. But if you were to talk about stocks within the entirety of the group of 6, with this group, you've got the geographical that made it obvious. You're kind of taking off the top of the Mountain West. So I guess you understood strategically why you targeted them. But as we're sitting here looking at it, I said, it's not all going to work out perfectly for every one of those teams. But in terms of outlook, I think we are trend up for a lot of those teams that are making the move from the Mountain West to the Pac-12. Boise State being the obvious one, as it seems to not matter if they've got healthy quarterbacks, Heisman Trophy finalists, or even a full-time head coach. They just seem to wind up in the mix for a conference championship wherever they are. So I would say that that's one advantage of the Pac-12 here, is that the individual programs they have gotten are all in an exciting time in terms of being early in the tenure of a head coach that I think a lot of people respect and believe in.
Fair.
What are they doing for scheduling?
They've got
playing
like
everybody
the wild card
else
week. Yeah.
They've got the wild card week.
Or like the final week of the season.
Right. Or they're going to,
which I don't like. I don't know. I don't like it.
Could be fun.
It could be. Could also be a complete disaster. It's weird to me. Maybe I'll grow to I think the part that bothers me is that they've already decided who the home teams are.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could have a team that's undefeated and in first place in your league and might be your best playoff hope. But now, because of what you decided before the season, they have to go on the road, and you could end up, shooting yourself in the foot because of it.
Yeah, it's set up so that they've got the flex week to try and create advantageous matchups for the teams that could be competing for the college football playoff. But like Tom mentioned, if you want to play the home away game, you can kind of figure out, even for almost every team, the 2 or 3 teams that they may or may not play. So there's limits to it. I applaud the creativity. We'll see how it works out. If we're gonna give kudos to Coastal Carolina and BYU for scheduling a game on a Monday and playing it on a Saturday, then this is at least a little bit more structured than that as we know it going into the year. But let's see. So if we've got it on the screen at youtube.com/cover3. If going into it, for example, Colorado State will have a home game for the flex week, that means they will play either Boise State, Oregon State, San Diego State, or Texas State.
Mm-hmm. And like I'm saying, what if Boise State's undefeated, currently ranked like 11 or 12 in the nation, and now they've got to go on the road and play Colorado State, and Colorado State beats them, and you kind of screw yourself.
But if Colorado State is 11-1 or, having a really good season, then it could make the winner of that game even a stronger resume.
Yeah. No, it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah. It's like playing little ones, big ones, at the craps table. When you're getting, you get all the little ones and get all the big ones, it'll be a big payout. But no guarantee that it comes home. Could be an interesting one to track right there. Anything else generally on the big picture on the Pac-12 that stands out? As you just saw on the graphic there, yes, a lot of the Pac-12 action. You will be able to see it on CBS Sports Network. Pac-12 championship game on Friday night of championship weekend on Big CBS. So great spotlight opportunity if a Boise State, is in that position of potentially playing for the college football playoff. They will have the entire Friday night spotlight right there on them. Should be a good opportunity. Anything else there? No.
I look forward to watching their games on CBS and CBS Sports Network.
Oregon State playing host to obviously Texas Tech. We've been talking about Texas Tech all daggum off season. That'll be a game to be able to keep your eye on in the early part of the year. All right, we saw the 5 schools that left the Mountain West to go to the Pac-12. Well, that meant the Mountain West has to do some replenishing. They lost 5 teams, but they have backfilled with 3. Those teams include grabbing North Dakota State from the FCS ranks. UTEP shows up from Conference USA, and then just frankly a befuddling move here, but we will see how it goes. Northern Illinois joins the Mountain West. Outside of the geographical thoughts about Northern Illinois, traditional Mountain West there, what about the new look Mountain West stands out to you, Tom?
I mean, this might seem weird, because I just mentioned the Pac-12, the new one, I think is going to be a very competitive conference as far as being the best G6 league. I look at this lineup and I don't see a league that I think is going to be, the best G6 league. Although maybe you will see with North Dakota State, how they handle the transition and all that kind of stuff. But to me, this league is far more interesting. I feel like there's, I don't know. I look at this group of teams and geography aside of Northern Illinois being in there, I just feel like there are a lot of kind of fun games here, and just basically historically some kind of fun, interesting matchups. So I don't know. I find this league to be more interesting than I do the Pac-12.
Interesting.
Which is kind of why I wish that Oregon State and Washington State had just joined this league.
Oh, because at one time when the Pac-12 is falling apart, there was a question of whether or not they would have just gotten folded into the Mountain West. I've got a bigger picture thought on that, actually. But Danny, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just curious to see how North Dakota State does at this level. They've been such a dominant force at the FCS level, making the jump up. How do they compete? I would expect them to be very competitive against some of these schools, which, James Madison has done. I'm sure that's what they looked at some of these other schools that have made similar jumps and had success right away. I would kind of expect them to be competitive right away too.
Yeah, as far as television product, what do we want on a Friday night or a late Saturday night while we're doing the reaction show? We want silly, stupid football. Yeah, to kind of just, I feel like this league provides ample opportunity, considering the stylistic differences between so many of these teams and the fact that none of them are recruiting juggernauts. This could be the wacky fun. This could be the new Pac-12 after dark kind of league.
So, to Tom's point, we know UNLV with Dan Mullen is going to have a certain style. We're running run and shoot at Hawaii with Timmy Chang as head coach, Micah Alejado as your quarterback. You were running the wildest of combinations of offensive and schemes at New Mexico with Jason Eck. Not to mention the Air Force, quadruple option. North Dakota State and Wyoming are going to see each other like the Spider-Man pointy meme, right? What is it? Literally the Craig Bowl experience.
Yeah, the Bowl Bowl.
The Bowl Bowl is going to be right there. North Dakota State and Wyoming. Those are kind of the same team. Obviously, North Dakota State with all of the success and the expectations coming in right there. To me, this conference has more individual storylines that I'm excited about than necessarily one league-wide sort of understanding of what exactly we have there. Where does UTEP fit in? Where does NIU fit in? those things will be revealed over time. Remember, Thomas Hammock left NIU. So we've got a coaching change there too. Another thing to be able to keep an eye on in terms of the Mountain West. If the Pac-12 and the Mountain West were going head to head, Tom, you've declared at least an intrigue factor, but Pac-12's got it. Pac-12 would, in the total, have a higher power rating, right?
Power ratings, yeah. The Pac-12 is going to be favored in most of those matchups. I just think that, Mountain West could be more fun.
Yeah. I have no idea what Ken Niumatalolo is going to have in terms of what kind of offense he's going to be running with San Jose State. He is very much shown in his couple years there already that he reacts to what he has, right? We'll put together whatever kind of offense. He's not stuck in the same sort of option concepts that he had from his time at Navy. All right, a couple more changes to get to in a little bit. Anything else on Mountain West that you want to hit?
Real quick, North Dakota State. They're not on the odds. They can't win the conference, right? Because they can't play in a championship game. They're petitioning that, right?
They are petitioning.
That's right. So that's why they're not on the odds. Because I was looking up the odds to see where they stacked up, but they need to win that. Yeah, there you go.
And honestly, why the hell not?
I know exactly. Well, that's what I thought. Because same thing. Remember, James Madison wasn't allowed to play, and they lost. It is one of the dumbest rules out there.
Like when it used to be a lot cheaper for schools just to go up to the FCS level, but now with the way contracts work and the fee you have to pay to join it, the rule doesn't really make as much sense anymore. Because it's not like North Dakota State's just jumping up for a year to cash in and then it's going to go back to the FCS level. They're here to stay. This is where the money is.
So in March, the FBS Oversight Committee recommended a change that could potentially open the door. My expectation is that deal is not sealed quite yet, but competing for the postseason by the NCAA transition rules might still be different than competing for the conference championship. I would hope the Common Sense Brigade would tell the Mountain West that if North Dakota State is like 11-0, let's make sure that they're going to have an opportunity to play for our conference championship. But, each of those levels will be something that still has to get past. The move up, again, previously had a 2-year window of ineligibility. You go all the way back to App State, Georgia Southern made the move around the same time. Like those moves to the FBS all had multiple years of being ineligible for the postseason. North Dakota State, Sacramento State trying to get it right away. Something that should definitely be noted, especially before you look at any kind of futures there in the Mountain West. Coming up on the other side, speaking of Sacramento State, if we're going to send Northern Illinois to the mountainous West, we might as well invite Sacramento to the middle of America. All that and more next.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ hits every highlight from all the sports that matter to you.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. Yes, the MAC still with 13 teams this year. Lost Northern Illinois to the Mountain West, but will be gaining Sacramento State from the FCS. While North Dakota State makes the move from the FCS to FBS with a trophy case full of hardware, Sacramento State is rolling on vibes. We want it. We want it so bad. We want to be a part of big time college football. And this is where the landing spot is for Sacramento State. So not a lot of changes overall, though outside of clearly, the loss there. So what do you make of Sacramento State and the move to the MAC?
We want to be a part of big time college football, so let's join the MAC. Which I love. I love the MAC.
I mean, we've been trying to make splashes for transfers.
Yeah, the graphic is wrong, by the way. Northern Illinois is gone. UMass is in there. But like, it kind of got overlooked because so much stuff happened this offseason. But like Sacramento State, in order to join the MAC, is not going to take any conference television revenue, and they're going to pay for the flights of anybody who has to fly out to Sacramento State to play them.
It's crazy.
Considering that Northern Illinois is leaving the MAC for the whatever's left of the Mountain West, I get the sense that maybe the TV contracts and the money that the MAC makes, not that great. So for Sacramento to be going after all that and spending all that money to be in the MAC to try to make themselves attractive to another league possibly in the future is a wild, wild gamble, a wild, wild risk. One I don't expect is going to work out very well for them in the long run. But hey, sometimes I guess you just got to do what you got to do if you think you got to do it. But as for the football element of it, there's a lot of changes in the MAC this year. Like Jason Kanell has left Toledo, and he's left for UConn, and I think that opens the door a bit because Toledo has really been, them and Miami of Ohio and Ohio have been the kind of cornerstones of this league for a few years now. They've been the ones you can look at as being the relative constants, and now there's change there. Northern Illinois, which has had good seasons, is gone. You bring in Sacramento State, which is clearly putting a lot of money into their team and probably thinks they can come in and just run roughshod over these guys pretty quickly. Can they? I don't know. We'll see. That's what's going to be interesting. Can Sacramento State show up in this league, which I've documented with my ratings every year? It gets worse every single season since the transfer portal and NIL became a thing. Can they dominate this league right away? If they can't, I don't have the highest hopes for their future as a big-time college football program.
God, what a test! What a test for the strength of the MAC and Sacramento State. I mean, that's a kind of odd position, but especially from our seat as we're trying to analyze all these different conferences and teams and stack them up against each other. If Sacramento State does well, what does that say about the MAC? And if Sacramento State doesn't do well and the great MAC wall holds, what does that say about Sacramento State? Fascinating. UMass,
It's all wild to me. I don't even know how, it's a huge bet that Sacramento State is making, that they're saying this exposure in the MAC at the FBS level is going to pay off dividends. I was looking at a Ross Dellinger article about how the school president had a consulting firm tell him about the financial impact of joining, an FBS conference. It's a big bet. I don't know if I would buy it if I was day trading Danny right now. I'd say good luck, but I don't know.
What?
Do we think Sacramento State is still in the MAC in 5 years? Do they make it the whole length of their? I don't either.
I don't know if the MAC is around in 5 years.
Right.
Or if it.
The MAC is interesting though because it's taken such a fall. I mean, it was when Western Michigan was, at the top of the league, when Northern Illinois no longer there. But I mean, they were beating teams in New Year's Six bowls and at least playing against them. But I mean, Northern Illinois beat Florida State, right? I mean, there's been some other.
They can't compete financially with the way because now every single it happens in all the smaller conferences, but it's genuinely, you look at the MAC every year. I've been saying, you look at their all conference first, second, third team, those dudes are gone. As soon as you make a name for yourself in that league, somebody's coming to get you. And it's not just the Big Ten, the American is coming to get you. Schools from other G6 leagues. So they just financially, they aren't on the same level as everybody else. And it's hard for them to compete, which is, a testament to a lot of the coaches who continue to win in those leagues. You've got a new roster pretty much every year.
Yeah, we just saw those odds on the screen. I mean, Western Michigan still expected to, after a really strong season last year, expected to be in the mix. Miami, Ohio, always right there in the mix. I got my eye on Eddie George, right? We were starting to see where Bowling Green is going to end up, getting their feet under them, see if they can close the gap with what is that top tier. Had a little bit of scandal and coaching change at Ohio. That's something to see if there's any lingering effects in terms of continuity and the turnover there. But Toledo, I think, is that as Jason Kanell is gone, it still is one of the most resource-rich programs in that conference.
And to hammer this point home, Toledo, one of the most resource-rich programs in the conference. Their coach just left for an independent at a time where being an independent is not exactly an ideal scenario. So yeah, it's a tough place right now in the modern landscape of this sport.
Just a couple more changes that end up impacting the Sun Belt and Conference USA. As Sun Belt loses Texas State, they replace them with Louisiana Tech. That is the most common sense addition of this entire process.
Yeah, Sun Belt. The Sun Belt is the Sun Belt. Damn it! And the
Damn
Sun
it.
Belt, the Sun Belt knows who it is. It knows who it wants. And like Texas State made sense because you could creep into Texas at the time, and they weren't like they're at least in a place that's kind of a fit. But as soon as they leave, it's like, we're not going to go for another Texas school. Nope, just give us one we're already in. Give us another Louisiana school, like our 8th one. Who cares? Regional rivalries, all that stuff, good times. Everybody's going to hate each other. It's wonderful. I love it.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Louisiana. We really ain't doing a lot to break to Alabama. We don't do a lot to try to break too far outside of the comfort zone. Virginia, of course, and West Virginia, as you get Marshall in there as well. I mean, this is the true footprint conference. When people talk about the way that college football used to be, the Sun Belt is it. Tom, I think you even said that. Yeah. Everybody who talks about how great college football used to be and all the things they love about it, we better see your ass tweeting about Sun Belt on a Thursday. I don't want you tweeting about the NFL game. I want you tweeting about what South Al and Georgia State are doing on ESPNU on Thursday night at 9:15.
And if you ain't, you're just a poser.
Yeah. I don't have any I don't have any definitive expectations for Louisiana Tech on the move. We remember Louisiana Tech from a specific standpoint goes into last season, Sonny Cumbie on the hot seat and kind of won his way off of it. They had a pretty good season. So now they're making the move, but that'll be another thing to keep an eye on, at least in terms of the storylines and the narratives there. Billy Napier taking over at James Madison. The Dukes are going to be your preseason favorites going into the year. Ricky Ronnie at ODU, they're running second. DK, any sort of bigger Sun Belt thoughts?
I think this one could be wild and wacky too. When you just look at kind of the wide open nature of it, I think it should be fun.
East, west, east. At least it's balanced. Some years, because Sun Belt's one of the last conferences that is still doing divisions. Some years our East Division, West Division balance is really screwy. Just looking at the odds board right now, I think it looks at least a little bit more balanced. Yeah. All right. And then that brings us to Conference USA. No crazy changes here, except for the loss of a couple of teams. They could be on the forefront, but as the Conference USA moves down to 10 teams, that was one of my big picture takeaways from conference realignment, is that when we talk about the old ways of college football and we compare them to an 18-team Big Ten, a 17-team ACC, a 16-team Big 12, and a 16-team SEC, while the Pac-12's expansion has kind of gutted and muddied the picture for some of these conferences, now we've got an 8-team Pac-12, a 10-team Conference USA, a 10-team Mountain West. Kind of looks like the way conferences used to. You actually get to play everybody. In the Mountain West, in the Pac-12, you might have extra games on top of that. In the Mountain West, you are going to play everybody. So if there's one sort of big picture, interesting point that jumped out to me, is that as you look at the way that the deck chairs have been reshuffled, as some people like to say, it has left us with some individual conferences that are going to be a little bit easier to get our arms around in an era of bloated mega conferences where some teams never play each other. So if there is a positive that stood out for me when I was trying to think about all of the changes going into this upcoming season, I'm going to like having some smaller neighborhoods to be able to see how rivalries build and matchups stack on top of each other.
I like that optimistic view.
Yeah, hey, I'm here for you. Listen, you want a little positivity? A little positivity here on a Monday. Let's go. All right, let's see. We did the math on that. So now let's have some fun. And I think that it is not crazy that Joey at 9:15 said the same thing that I threw into the doc late as sort of our final thought. Joey says, let's pivot into a discussion about future conference realignment. So what do you think is the next move?
Gosh.
I mean, it depends on the Protect College Sports Act, doesn't it?
Because of the anti-expansion rules that are in there?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if that happens, I don't know. I don't know if there would be any major shakeups, at least in the power leagues. I think that you could see smaller leagues consolidate. Like maybe you just talked about how a small league in Conference USA and how great it is, but maybe they're consolidating with the MAC 6 years from now. And we've got a giant kind of, those two together. I don't know. I wonder if we're going to continue seeing FCS schools making the jump at the same rate that we have, or if that gets stemmed too, if the Protect College Sports Act goes through, because maybe now that there's not as much movement, it's not as attractive to some of those schools. In fact, I kind of wonder if there's a future in which a lot of the FBS schools go down a level to the FCS once it becomes, because I don't think the gap is going to narrow no matter what happens financially. I think between the power leagues and the other leagues, the financial gap is just going to get bigger and bigger. And at some point, some of these schools are just going to be like, we can't financially, this no longer makes sense for us.
A decision UMass made at one time before deciding that they want to double back, get back in, and have Bud Elliott read UMass injury reports.
Is there an attempt by one of these group of 6 conferences to try to get bigger to challenge the Power 4? I mean, it's like such a long shot though, but like I was thinking the Pac-12, like, do they try to gobble up more of the Mountain West? Does the American try to gobble up the top teams in the Sun Belt? Like, do they really try to bolster in numbers? That'd be my only, question, if we possibly could see that.
Yeah, does that even accomplish anything if they do? Like, I
know.
mean, if the American adds,
come close.
Yeah, like if the American adds James Madison and App State and a couple other Sun Belt guys, it's like, does that really all of a sudden make people look at the American and say, "Oh, look out here comes a real league"?
But are they are they campaigning to be? I mean, remember the American was always the Power 6. Like they tried to. I wonder if there's a move by somebody to get the guaranteed spot. To be this highest ranked group of 6 school. A pro. Conference that gets their team in there every year. But I don't know, is it worth it?
Do you remember the week or two where an ACC Pac-12 merger was floated?
Yeah.
Would the ACC and the Big 12 try to do that?
I thought, hadn't that been floated at somebody? It might have just been somebody's idea. I don't know if it was any official reports.
Because they have backed remember, Jim and Brett have been backing each other up, and they've been in lockstep on a lot of these moves.
Well, because they have similar interests.
Well, yeah, and that would be the kind of thing that could bind them together in a way that really changes it.
I don't know that binding together changes anything for them. Realistically, I don't know.
If the Protect College Sports Act does not pass, or the anti-expansion gets written out of the bill, right, and then the bill that's passed does not have any prohibitive language, no sourcing. This is just us hanging out saying, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? I think that when the media rights deals are about to run out, I think the Big Ten and the SEC would both move to 20. And I think that they would not join together officially, but I think that would sort of be the okay, those are the super leagues. They each have 20 teams and they're all the best teams. And the teams that are left behind in the ACC, the Big 12, and the group of 6, the ones that are powerful, they're all going to be fighting for the James Madison and the Tulane spots. And that whatever future college football playoff we have, which, at that point might be a big old 16, 2014 bracket, that is just going to be filled with Big Ten and SEC teams after the Big Ten and the SEC have both run their membership up to 20. That would be and then after that, maybe that's when the ACC and the Big 12 start talking merger. That's when
whatever's left of them.
That's when you start the backfield.
If the Big 10 and SEC add 6 more teams to their fold overall, I don't think there's going to be much left of the ACC or the Big 12.
No, they'll backfill from the American,
That's what I'm saying. Like, because Florida State's gone, Clemson's gone at that point, North Carolina's gone, Virginia's probably gone, Miami's gone. Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't want that. But if we're going to make
Sounds like you're rooting
predictions-
for it. Sounds like Chip trying to get his North Carolina Tar Heels out of the failing ACC.
Listen, North Carolina's role tonight is to stop the Southeastern Conference from getting another title. And I've seen both. I've seen lots of sentiment. Joey actively rooting for SEC to void the SEC of another national championship, especially in a sport they've dominated. I want to know how Chip is feeling going into Game 3 tonight. Was what Chris said before we got the show started. Great. It's all on the table.
So it's a best of 3. So this is the final game.
Yeah, this is it. Championship game.
So I don't see any more damn college baseball tweets in my timeline. Thanks.
All the arms are available for as long as they can go, and you either will or won't make that diving grab when they put it on the ground. You know, like you were talking about, Tom, the stuff that frustrates you. The national championship will hang on communication on a fly ball between 3 players tonight, on whether or not you're able to like make that diving snag as the shortstop. I mean, the fundamentals of baseball will determine the national championship tonight. So we'll see.
It's
they either will or they won't.
They're both fun teams. They both have great stories. The Caden Glauber kid, the pitcher for North Carolina, it's 29-0 anytime he's been in a game. How about an early enrollee? He was supposed to be like on his high school senior trip right now, but he enrolls early. It's the unique thing about baseball. You can enroll early, play right away, and he's had this impact. Question is now, does he throw again after 65 pitches yesterday? Yeah, you're 18 years old. You better believe it, baby.
Yeah,
get out there.
absolutely.
Just give me a couple good innings. That's all we need.
He's a freshman.
Yeah.
Well, then pitch. I mean, if you get injured, you're not draft eligible for 2 years anyway.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's just also the vibes. It's you. Do you start him, Danny, or do you pull him?
I don't know.
Do you pull him for that you need it when you gotta get him out, when you gotta get out of a jam? I think
you save him for that moment.
I think you save him for that moment too. That's where Scott Forbes is just going to be pulling all the vibes levers in there. Oklahoma's a big vibes team too. Once
totally,
should be a lot of fun. What'd you make, Danny? What'd you make of your U.S. men's national team? Another win, clinching the group.
Let's go. Am I all right for you soccer guys? Am I eating the cheese right now by saying we can win this whole thing? Is that just fool's gold? If they because I'm all in now. Everybody that was the expert that I follow is like, don't waste your money on Team USA. Don't waste your money. Now I'm all in. We dominate. Ready to take this thing down.
We cannot win this whole thing.
What? Whoa, I'm not going to go with
That's not what Zlatan said. That's not what my man said.
No, we can't. Here. I don't mean to be this guy, but I always have to be for some reason. Like, the World Cup has expanded. They've added 16 teams this year, which means that like now teams like the US are in groups playing against teams that they're actually better than, whereas in the normal years, they'd be playing against teams that were better than they are. So therefore, again, this is the best US team I've ever seen, no matter who they're playing. But the results are a little misleading in the group stage. Like Spain, they tie Cape Verde in their first match, and everybody's like, well, but Spain understands they're getting through. Most of these top teams understand that now with the top 2 guaranteed and third place teams, 2/3 of them getting through, you don't really have to go full speed in the group stage. If you're Spain, if you're France, if you're one of those teams, once you get to the knockout stages and you're not playing Paraguay or Australia anymore, it's going to be a whole different game. And the U.S. is not, they might win a knockout round or 2. They might get to the quarterfinals, and that would be incredible. That would be amazing. But they're not beating Spain. They're not beating England. They're not beating France. They're not beating Argentina. They're not beating any of those teams. They're just not.
Clip it,
they
striker.
Could beat England.
Clip
they
it.
They could definitely beat England.
They cannot beat England.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm glad we've got that clipped.
Me too.
Yeah.
Come on.
United
we got some
States
serious
can beat
99er vibes on this team. They've got soccer fever, just like they did in '99 with the women's team.
Listen, they've got a mental advantage over the English. Are you kidding me? Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
Come on.
The NC State of world soccer, England. 3 Lions stands for 3 L's. All these times you get your heart broken on the big stage. I mean,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and we needed France's help. So maybe if the French lend us Mbappe and some of their players, we can beat England again 250 years later.
It's the first time I've seen the soccer hype live up to it, though, because I've been told for the last 30 years, like U.S. men, like this is the sport of the future, and it feels like it's finally arrived. So it's good to see it finally meet at least some of the hype.
Yeah, no, this is our best team ever. I am not going to fall into the we can win the whole thing trap that a lot of people seem to be falling into.
Home field advantages. Other teams can't take the heat. And I'll tell you what, it ain't getting any cooler once we get to early July. Come on. Ain't enough hydration breaks on the whole game to be able to handle that. We're
taking down Messi on, what is it, July 3rd? It would be that quarterfinals. Let's go.
I don't see, that's the thing. We're going to be playing a third place team in the first knockout stage because we won our group. But it wouldn't be so. Like, I do think we're going to win. We're going to win a knockout stage game.
Mark it down.
When we get to the round of 16, then it's going to really depend on how the bracket looks. But I do think we can win 2 knockout stage matches. I think we're that good.
It's just who is it in potential quarterfinals? You know, how healthy is the team? And like how's everybody doing?
Didn't play against Australia.
You don't have to play the next match either, right? Because it doesn't matter.
No, not now. He doesn't. But that's the thing, though. You like strategy-wise, you don't like you've won the group, but you also, you don't want to give guys 2 weeks off either. So you got to play some. You want to. It's you got to try to find that balance of keeping guys
like a friendly.
Yeah.
Cape Verde, by the way, is awesome.
Yeah,
that
was unbeatable.
The goalie's got like a mural of himself out there now. He's like a hero.
And because that game was in Miami, right? And I was assuming. I was watching it with Punt last night. I was assuming Uruguay is probably well represented in that stadium, right?
Yeah.
Somebody was, because the ticket prices were off the charts. Can't get in there. I was looking at the game Wednesday night. Forget it. $3,000 just to get in, upper deck.
Yeah.
I wanted to take Brady, my youngest. Sorry, Brady. Get a job.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Pitching in.
Wait, I need to have a better sense on your scholarship proxy. Like how are we looking on the scholarship for you?
Still, the prospects are way too far off. Ain't no guarantees around here.
One last one, we promised it. Can we get stickers that say Tom's Book Club like Oprah and have it if Tom keeps giving his book suggestions? Yeah, we definitely can. We're talking about all kinds of merch right now. Tom's Book Club actually is a great idea for a sticker. Dom, do we have a new addition to the book club?
We do. House of the Dragon, the new season premiered last night. I'm sure, people are familiar with Game of Thrones and all those universes. Read all those books. They're back there. They're all good. But if you're into fantasy reading, there's another one that's kind of flown under the radar for years. It's The King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. The first book right here, In the Name of the Wind. It's a very good book. It's a very good story. It's basically about a dude who's a badass who is now kind of towards the end of his life. And he's had a lot of crap happen in his life, a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of myth to him. And he sits down with a novelist over 3 days in a bar and tells him his life story. And it's a very, very interesting story. It's a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of fun stuff. It's more fun, I would say, than Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is pretty dark throughout the entire series. And there's a lot more, there's so many characters in it that you can get kind of lost when you're reading the book. There are many characters in this, but they're all told from one person's perspective. So it's probably a little easier to follow. Mm-hmm. But the one thing it does have in common with Game of Thrones is that everybody's waiting for the final Game of Thrones book, which is probably never going to come. Everybody who loves this series is waiting for the third damn book too, because that hasn't come yet. So this is great. If you want to just really read a series of books and get into it and then be pissed off because the next book never comes and the story hasn't ended yet, this, In the Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, is where to start.
So guy sits down at a bar and tells his life story. Can you give us any more insight into the kind of tales this guy went on? Like what kind of interactions are we dealing with?
Well, he grows up as a kid in a troupe of traveling performers who are then
let's go.
Think of a carnival troupe, and then they are all murdered on the road by this group called the Chandrian, which is a mysterious group that people kind of dismissed. Like some people don't think is real. Well, Kavoth, that's the main character's name. He could tell you that they are real because he has seen them. They killed his family and he survives. And pretty much the rest of his life is dedicated to finding out why his family was murdered by these people and who these people are. And, vengeance, going out to find them and kill them. But there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes along the way that just, it's the King Killer Chronicles for a reason. He does a lot of things. He's a very mythical figure in this world, but you kind of find out that the myth is a little oversized in a lot of areas, but it's a very interesting story. It's engaging. It's fun. It's exciting. It's sad. It's all those things that you would want in like a fantasy kind of series. And it's just not as overall dark as Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon.
Nice. I like it. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. I'm going to let anybody who thinks about crossing Tom remind them this is the second book of vengeance that he has brought to the table. If you want to run afoul of Tom Fornelli, would not suggest it. This guy studies the best. The best revenge around, fictional or not. Tom's an expert in it, Gary Parrish is an expert in extortion, and Tom Fornelli is an expert in vengeance. All right, we will be back as experts of college football on Thursday with the live show. Plenty of summer school lined up between now and then, but and this is going to be the task, so bring your homework as well. We are going to be talking about dark horses of college football for 2026. That annually also includes our new edition. What is it? What's the opposite of a dark horse? Who remembers?
Chalk donkey.
Chalk donkeys. That's right. The opposite of the dark horse, the chalk donkey, the favorite that will, so it's dark horses and chalk donkeys. The underdogs who we think that can really make some noise, and the favorites who we think are going to fall short of expectations. So dark horses and chalk donkeys, we'll go conference by conference. We'll do that on Thursday. Come and hang out live. It'll be a really, really fun discussion. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Danny Kanell. Follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See ya.